Hello, welcome back to another video. Thanks for tuning in. My name's Justin, and if you are a returning viewer, I really appreciate you tuning into these videos every week. Now, if you've clicked on the thumbnail, you'll know that this video is talking about how BuyToLet is a dying strategy. I recently received a comment on YouTube and it really piqued my interest. It was discussing how now that I am becoming a YouTuber and having some kind of, well, influence, you might say, but regardless, you know, now that I'm a YouTuber and I'm putting out this weekly content, I have a responsibility to make people aware that BuyToLet is a rubbish strategy and that there's better strategies out there for people. And there are other strategies. So taking a tip from that person's comment, here you go. So you could buy a HMO, a house of multiple occupation. You could buy a property, get planning and convert it into a HMO. You could buy a property and do service accommodation where you rent it out through Airbnb and booking.com and you do short stays, and that's quite a good high cash flow generating model. You could do flips and developments where instead of holding on to the asset and renting it out, you buy it, you add value, you sell it, you make a profit. You could do commercial to residential conversions, which right now seem to be the hot topic, the thing to do. And a whole host of other things like rent to rent, lease options and sourcing. So property offers so many options for different people, and each strategy depends on your own circumstances. Now, the only reason I share BuyToLet is because I'm only wanting to share things that I'm doing. I'm sharing my journey essentially, and unless I'm doing it or about to do it, I don't really like to talk about it. Now, something that I've got to remember is the fact that everything in life revolves around trends and fashions, it seems. You know, whether it's from the interiors of properties, the clothes we wear or the brands we wear, or whether it's just coming down to the strategy that we use when it comes to property, there's fashions in everything. And if you go back 10 years ago, you know, BuyToLet was booming, it was the thing to do. Then 5 years ago, it was HMOs. Buying HMO because you've got a high cash flowing business, and it is a good strategy for that fact. And then now, 2020 and 2019, and probably going forward for another year or two, it seems that commercial to residential is the talk of the town. If you're not doing them, then you're not succeeding in property, they'll have you believe. But it's not true. You need to pick whatever strategy it is that I've just mentioned that works for you at the end of the day. You know, which one of those strategies would make you want to get out of bed with excitement every day? Which one of them would make you want to progress? Which one of them have you got the money to do essentially? And, you know, once you've asked yourself those kind of questions, you'll be able to, you know, compare them all and then make a decision on which strategy works for you. So for me, it is BuyToLet, which is why I just talk about BuyToLet. Now, I just want to say, me responding to this comment isn't me hating on this person. I actually appreciate them commenting, whilst it could have been put in a less patronising manner and they could have conveyed their message in a nicer way and a bit more transparent way. Me actually responding to this is because they raise a valid point, and that is that maybe I do need to talk about other strategies. There's new people to property here and there's lots of different options that you have. It's not just BuyToLet. Now, just to round off this video, I do actually want to cover one thing, and that's the main topic of this video. BuyToLet is dead. Well, it's not dead, to be quite frank, and my opinion is that it just needs a few adjustments in order to make it a good strategy. Now, it's never going to be a high cash flowing strategy. You're only going to look to make £200 to £300 per property, but if that's relatively passive and requires little upkeep, little maintenance, I see that as a win. You know, every property you buy is an asset, you're increasing your net wealth, you're getting paid every month, and it requires less money to get involved with in the first instance than some of these other strategies. Then what's wrong with that? You know, why start by doing a 20-bed HMO or a huge commercial to residential conversion when you've got a small cash pot, no experience? Why not just dip your toe in the water and then rinse and repeat that until you're an expert in it? Now, BuyToLet, I'd admit, has been hit hard by quite a few things in recent years, in particular tax, of course, and it's come under a lot of scrutiny because it's probably the most commonly used strategy. You know, when you think about it, anyone going into property, this is the entry level strategy. Buy 1 or 2 buy-to-lets as your pension fund, is how a lot of people start. So you just have to do some, you know, adjusting towards your strategy in order to make it a profitable experience and a worthwhile experience for you as a business. For example, if you buy a property and you are in the high tax bracket, you know, you earn £60,000, you're paying 40% tax, you buy a buy-to-let in your personal name, that buy-to-let isn't going to be worthwhile after you've paid the tax on that. Once you've paid the mortgage, the maintenance, all of your bills, and then you pay your tax on it, it's really not worthwhile necessarily just to hold that asset. So that's why people are having to become smarter and educate themselves. They're having to look at, should I buy this in a limited company? Is that the right move for me, dependent on what I earn, depending how many other properties I have? How can I withdraw that money from that limited company? What dividends can I take? So as long as you're smart about it, you set up your buy-to-let business in the right manner, it's not a dead strategy. It just isn't the highest cash flowing strategy. So in response to this person on YouTube, I appreciate you commenting. I obviously wanted to turn this into a positive thing, and actually, yeah, maybe I should have shared more of these strategies in the past. However, they're not ones that I'm taking. So if you decide to go down one of those routes, talk to an expert within that field, get their advice and their experience to help you along your journey. If you're still watching, I appreciate you. Please give the video a like if you've enjoyed it. I'll of course see you in the next video.